The Democrats and the left-wing press's obsession with race and their knee-jerk reaction to insert it into any story, including election results, was on full display last night. I start with, of course, the worst culprit, who is Joy Reid. Got a couple of examples, but we'll start with SOT 6.
The important sort of data point that this is a state that is overrepresented by white Christians that are going to participate in these caucuses, yes. Especially tonight. Earlier today, reached out to Robbie Jones from the Public Religion Research Institute, knowing that we were going to talk about Iowa. And this is a hyper evangelical white state. And he said the following to me: Iowa is about 61% white Christian. The country as a whole is approximately 41% white Christian. And in Iowa, we're talking about evangelical white Christians. Because I asked him, what do they get out of supporting Donald Trump? Because he keeps losing, he keeps delivering losses and losses and losses. And he said the following: they see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country, and Trump has promised to give it back to them. All the things that we think about electability, about, what are people gaming out, or none of that matters when you believe that God has given you this country, that it is yours, and that everyone who is not a white conservative Christian is a fraudulent American, is a less real American. Then you don't care about electability.
Got it, Dave? It's the whiteys and their sense of entitlement that explains Trump's rise in the polls. The problematic whites who have a sense of entitlement.
I'd like to think that news alert was like somebody in the booth who was like, can we shut this woman up? I think, is there anything? Is there any news
Guaranteed.
That we can break with? Just stop it. Eagles down by 10, whatever. Sorry, Stu, it's starting to me too. Look, it's aside from being itself racist, aside from just being utterly and completely inaccurate in terms of the way that white voters, who many of whom voted for Obama, right? I mean, we know that this is abject foolishness. It's also just gotten enormously boring. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over and over. With no new results. And I guess that the idiots who watch MSNBC, who aren't smart enough to watch a Donald Trump speech without suddenly turning into, red-hatted MAGA people, enjoy hearing Joy Reid say these things. But I think it's telling that clip is on your show rather than on Joe Biden's X account, because I don't know who rhetoric like that possibly helps. It's so divisive. It's so wrong.
That's the business she's in. She doubled down because you see in Joy Reid's view, Nikki Haley didn't come in third in Iowa because her message didn't resonate with a state full of voters who lean more conservative. It's because she's got brown skin, and the hateful Republicans, it's a hard no to somebody with her background. Take a listen to SOT 7.
It's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion that you can say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. She's getting, birthered by Donald Trump. Ron DeSantis' only argument for staying in it is he's the white guy, that he can still make the appeal to white evangelicals.
Can you imagine looking at the world like this? This woman has a primetime show on MSNBC.
This is a deep psychosis, I believe. It is something that is strange, and I don't understand it. I will tell you, I've never met anyone in my entire life who's a white person who thinks they are the rightful inheritors of this country. They believe in the fundamental principles of this country, the founding principles of this country, and they want to protect those. That's a cultural argument. That is an argument of institutions. That is not an argument of color of skin. I think I live by this rule. I try to live by this rule. I encourage everyone to live by this rule. I think most people do, which is never, ever in your entire life make a decision, any decision based on skin color for any reason. That's a really simple rule that I think most Americans strive to follow. It's not always perfect. Certainly there are people who make decisions based on skin color. There probably are people who are like she describes. I guess they exist. Never met one, but maybe they do. Maybe those are the people with the tiki torches back in Charlottesville. I don't know.
It's Joy Reid.
It is. It is. There is a thirst for this racism to exist. There is a lust for it to exist. There's a lust for it to explain all bad things so they can justify all of their own mistakes and losses and disappointments in life. And this comes from the left. I mean, talk to conservative people of color. They don't think this way. Talk to people all around the country of all different colors and sizes and everything else. People want to see others based on merit. That's what the country's foundation is, merit. And instead, they're trying to turn this into a place where we're bringing back decision-making based on skin color. I thought we all agreed that was a bad time. That was the wrong way to go. I thought we all agreed on that. And for some reason, they're trying to drag it back into modern times, leave it back 100, 200, 300 years ago. Trump he said the thing about immigrants are poisoning the blood. And there's a real question about whether some of the immigrants coming across our southern border we know they are, bringing fentanyl into this country and literally poisoning the blood, literally being responsible for poisoning the blood of Americans to the tune of 100,000 deaths a year. This has been something Trump's been raging about for a while. But in the eyes of every MSNBC host, it's just one drop of immigrant blood makes you unacceptable to Republicans. That's where they've gone with it. One drop of immigrant blood makes you a hard no for the racist GOP. Her colleague over on MSNBC, Lawrence O'Donnell, took it there as well. It wasn't a one-off. Listen to him.
CBS poll, their final poll before the Iowa caucus, this is a national poll, shows that 81% of Republican primary voters and caucus participants, 81% of those people agree with Donald Trump that immigrants are poisoning the blood of this country. That means that 81% of the Republican primary electorate believe Nikki Haley has poisoned blood and is poisoning the blood of the United States.
I can't. His fake
man is literally
sanctimony.
married to an immigrant. He's literally married to an immigrant.
Right, good point.
This is so absurd.
I guess it's like Barron's blood is poisoned under this rationale, this logic. No, I mean his fake sanctimony and gravitas, his attempt to tell you that 81% believe this. It's amazing to me that they have even 2 viewers left. This is the only thing that they traffic in. This, and all bad news for Trump is bad, and all good news for Trump is bad. That brings me to my next point over on MSNBC. So you wonder with Trump because they'd been saying for weeks in advance of Iowa, like he's got to get over 50%. Anything less than 50% is a loss for Trump. Well, he did it. He got over 51%. So was MSNBC going to say, you know what? He did it. He's stronger than ever. I get it. Whatever. That's what no. That too is a bad sign for Trump. An ominous sign, in fact. Dave Marcus, take a listen to this montage we put together of that reaction.
If Barack Obama took 4 years off and then ran in a Democratic caucus in Iowa, would 50% of Democrats vote against Barack Obama? We can all sit here and put on sackcloth and ashes and moan about Donald Trump getting 51% of the vote. Got to say, for people who actually want to win general elections, that's not good news. 50% of people voting in the Iowa caucuses against a former president is bad news for that party's prospects in the general election. Not good news.
Almost half of the base of the Republican Party showing up for this caucus tonight voted against Donald Trump. Think about that.
First of all, 50-50 for an incumbent really sucks. This is not good for Donald Trump.
Have they seen the approval ratings on Joe Biden, Dave? Have they seen the number of Democrats who do not want Joe Biden to be the nominee and would happily rush to the polls if the Democratic Party would allow a real challenger?
Oh, I'll do you one better than that, Megyn, and bookmark all of those segments for a week from now. I just looked at a poll that shows Dean Phillips at 28% in New Hampshire. Now, most viewers are saying, who is Dean Phillips, as I was about 2 weeks ago. He's at 28%. Joe Biden is at about 50 to 55% in these New Hampshire polls. Now, the Democrats pulled a fast one, right? They said, oh, these votes won't count. We're not even putting Joe Biden on the ballot. But I'm under no obligation to buy into that fast one and say I'm not going to pay any attention to this. Fact of the matter is, Joe Biden is at about the same place in New Hampshire as the actual incumbent president, as what Donald Trump performed at yesterday in Iowa. Now, all these clowns on MSNBC, if Phillips gets 30% of the vote, are they going to have the same reaction? Of course they aren't. I mean, whatever Donald Trump does is bad. It's bad for the country. It's bad for Trump. It's bad for everybody except MSNBC thinks it's ratings, I suppose. But yeah, of course you're right. I mean, they said he's got to hit 50%. Oh, he did. And that was it.
True or false? Using your tax refund to pay off credit card debt is smart. False. Well, donewithdebt.com published a strategy designed to let you keep your hard-earned tax refund and reduce or eliminate credit card debt. Most Americans owe thousands in credit card debt that will take years to pay off, if at all. Done with Debt found that filing bankruptcy is usually not the answer, and taking out loans to pay off credit cards usually increases debt. When you engage Done with Debt, their legal experts and skilled negotiators will take on the credit card companies for you. Their winning strategies are designed with one goal: solve your debt situation quickly and permanently. First things first, chat with a Done with Debt strategist and explore your possible solutions. That will make you feel better. Some debt fighting strategies, though, are time sensitive, so you do need to move quickly. Call right away. Check it out now. For a free consultation, visit Done, D-O-N-E, with debt, D-E-B-T.com. Donewithdebt.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.